Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 3, and today I'm going to be giving you part 3 of What If Naruto Was a 10th Dimensional Being, guys. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also don't forget to go ahead and check out What If Naruto Was a Hidden Prodigy with 9 different elements over on Anime King 2, and enjoy that, guys. And remember, if you're new, yes, I indeed have 4 channels, which I post What If on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and smash that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. Don't forget to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying talking back to all of you. And also guys, don't forget to go ahead and turn on the bell notification to see exactly when I post. So without further ado or wasting more time, let's jump right into this. Begin now, guys. So the last part that we left off, Naruto and Sasuke came across Haku, who was going towards his master Zabuza. However, the moment they said why they were here, Haku did not waste any time. Zabuza was not in a state to fight, and he could tell that despite these two looking even younger than him, they were strong, ridiculously so. So he had to move as he quickly used his most powerful technique, that was his ice mirror technique, as he trapped all of them inside. He went into the mirror as he quickly sent senbons towards their necks to incapacitate them. However, problem arose when they were deflected. Haku was confused because he did not see what deflected them. The next moment, he saw the girl draw her blade, and all of his ice mirror shattered. Her speed was beyond his comprehension. The next thing he knew, he was about to die, as the blade was going to take his head clean off. He was afraid. His life started to flash in front of his eyes. There was absolutely nothing that he could do to prevent what was about to happen. His head was about to be removed. However, Naruto caught Sasuke's hand, telling her to stop. She was confused, as she thought these were the ones that were trying to kill the people there. However, Naruto saw something just by a gaze. That is when Haku was able to see the face of these two people, and he was utterly shocked. Zabuza came out using his blade as a crutch, as he couldn't believe it either. The Golden God, the nickname that Naruto was given, and the Raven of Death, as he looked towards Sasuke. Zabuza was shocked as he couldn't believe these two were here. This was bad, insanely so, as he did not see them surviving this. However, they were not here to fight. Naruto was able to touch Zabuza and understand why he fled from Kiri. Zabuza was shocked as he did not know any techniques that could traverse and read someone's mind with a touch. However, he did hear that his child could do things that were abnormal. He felt invaded though. However, Naruto was not here to fight him actually. He was here to help. And he could use Zabuza's help as well, but first, they got to take care of Gato. After getting the location, they made their way off. So with that, Zabuza and Haku start to talk about whether they should trust him or not. This could be a chance to return back and help the people that was in need. Zabuza had tried to take on the Mizukage by himself, but he failed, and instead of coming back, he ran away. Like a coward. A regret and a mistake that he made. However, he heard that the rebellion forces were still strong and trying to take down the Mizukage. So this might be his chance to fight back. Yes, this might be his only chance to fight back and actually help the people that he deserted so many years ago. This might be his chance. So he took it. With that, him and Haku made their way off. However, while that was going on, Kurenai was following behind them to find out what exactly was going on. As for Naruto and Sasuke, they arrive towards the location as they quickly take out the guards. Walking through, they feared no one, absolutely no one, and they showed that by not even giving a damn. They were surrounded moments later. However, what caught Naruto's attention was the girls that were kept in captivity. As he told Yuki to do it, she rained lightning from the heavens as a beast was brought down that decimated everything, shocking everyone. However, Naruto was the one to kill Gato, as he did not let his soul go though. As Naruto sent his soul to somewhere dark, even worse than the grasp of the dead god. The dead god warned him. However, Naruto was surprised that he just warned him. He thought that he was gonna actually try to kill him. However, he wondered if the dead god could even end his existence. So with that, they made their way as they came across the two. Naruto went to speak to Kurenai first, as he did not mean her any harm, but she wanted to know what was he doing and if he was against the hidden leaf. As he wasn't. He did not hold on to such resentment. So with that, the group made their way towards Kiri. Zabuza leading the way there, on top of the massive dragon. Once they got towards the location, as they got into the mist, they were detected. It wasn't long before they were surrounded by ninjas from the rebellion forces. Arriving there, Naruto showed them that they meant no harm, as Naruto and Yuki had themselves suppressed to not freak anyone out. Zabuza was given a harsh glare by many of them because of his desertion. As they were brought towards the location, arriving there, they were able to meet the leader. Her name was Mitarumi. She slapped Zabuza right across the face before speaking to the others, as Naruto complimented her, which Yuki did not seem to like. As Haku filled him in on that, as Naruto went to talk to Yuki. They had met countless females in their travel, and Naruto, well, he was just trying to be nice. However, Yuki did not like it the way he complimented them in certain areas, as Naruto told her that she was more than special to him. Beyond special. It lightened her mood as he took her hand and made his way back towards the camp. As they made their way there, as she was feeling a lot better, because a moment ago she was actually feeling a bit jealous, as Naruto was always this way. However, she always kept it to herself and did not really focus on it, as he made sure that she knew that doesn't matter what he say, she meant more to him than anyone else, and he meant that. So with that, they headed back to go and speak to me and the other forces that were gathered. So yeah guys, basically as we left off, you guys can switch across the place and check it out for yourself, and don't forget to go ahead and check out the other channel. So yeah, without further ado, let's jump right into this. Begin now guys. We begin this episode at Konoha. Kurenai stood in front of the Hokage after her team was dismissed. After doing my thorough check, she was currently in middle of her sentence. I was able to find out that that was the location of Gato. That was the island that he was currently residing on. And I'm not sure which one of them did it, but they were able to create thunder clouds. And a beast, a reptilian beast, was able to form out of pure manipulation of lightning. It struck the ground with such force, it was all turned to dust and rubble. And surprisingly, they weren't affected in the slightest. I know that many people cannot be affected by their own element or jutsu in certain cases, but this was far from normal, Hokage-sama. And that wasn't the end of it though. I spoke to him, she said. She told the Hokage her conversation with Naruto, and by the end of it, it was Sasuke Uchiha who summoned a great beast. A dragon, I presume. I thought those were just depicted in stories for children. I never thought I would ever see one with my own eyes. A single flapping of its wings created gusts that could level the entire forest. And it was not trying to. It was a beast of unstoppable power. However, from what I was able to get from that boy, he has no aggression against Konoha. I wasn't able to speak to Sasuke. However, despite my years of focusing on the mental attributes of a human mind and body, despite my trying to incorporate it with my genjutsu to better understand how the human mind works, I wasn't able to figure him out. His emotions. I'm not sure if he has any or if he has some that I just cannot differentiate between. But that boy is truly something. Now I can see why he was given the title of double S rank in the bingo book despite his age. Once she was finished with her sentence, Hiruzen was in deep thought. Naruto and Sasuke was now with Zabuza and his apprentice. However, from what he was able to see so far, Naruto did not mean any harm to Konoha. He healed Kurenai, he protected the land of Wave, he gave the people food. No wonder they call him the Golden God. All he's been doing over the past couple of years was helping people with Sasuke at his side. He did not start anything with the other nations. They were the ones that attacked him. Because he was not afraid to tell them who was his parents, and they saw him as a threat. Hiruzen knew that within the village a boy had posed a great threat, and the things that he did. However, it was always because he was provoked to doing so. And back then Naruto was far younger than he was now, and his power was already immense and so abnormal. If he was truly able to gain control of that power that he possessed, Hiruzen doubted that anyone in this world could actually face him. And if he turned that wrath against Konoha or this world, he doubted that even combined, they could actually stop him. That was how much Hiruzen saw. That was how much he understood as he looked up towards Kurenai. He dismissed her for the day. Her and her team has been through a lot. It's only a matter of time before news spread about what Naruto did over there. Jiraiya would probably be right after them. He just hoped that he did not do anything to provoke Naruto or to make him see him as an enemy. Meanwhile, back at Kiri, several important people were gathered. The rebellion had several important factions. Some of them did not possess ninja ability. However, they did have a big name despite them joining the rebellion because they wanted this to stop. And they also had the power of placing the next Mizukage. They could not do that at the moment because, well, they would be killed on sight for helping the rebellion, but once things were settled, the power would shift back into their place. Mei Terumi was at the head of the table. To her right was a man that seemed to be in his late 60s. He had silver hair and brown eyes. His name was Dante. Across from Dante sat a woman. She had dark purple hair and dull purple eyes. She seemed to be in her early 50s. Her name was Hina. Next to her was a younger individual, as he seemed to be in his late 20s. He had spiky brown hair and dark brown eyes. His name was Jin. Across from Jin was a woman similar to age with him. Her features were similar to his. They share family ties. Her name was Akari. Despite Akari and Jin looking rather young, they had great political backing power, and they were big supporters of the rebellion forces. Things were off balance right now, but once they take back power within the village, things would be settled. Their parents had this power, of course, but when they passed, it went to them. These were the main factions that were now here within the rebellion forces. There were others, but they had less in terms of power, of influence. And Mei was the one in charge. She had proven time and time again that she was fitted to be the leader. The guard escorted the individuals inside. That was Zabuza Mamakai, Haku, Naruto, and Yuki. Arriving inside, it seems what you said was no joke, said Jin, as he was speaking to me. The Golden God, and also the Raven of Death. I'm truly surprised that they're here. Yes, but what do they want out of helping us? Akari said, as she was not making her voice quiet or anything. She was speaking out loud. One of the elders, Hina, spoke up. Well, they're right here. Shall we ask them? Before that, the older gentleman said. It was none other than Dante as he looked towards them. Then his eyes shifted towards Zabuza Mamakai. Let's speak about the issue with Zabuza, shall we? I have already spoken to him, said Mei. He know what he did. He understand what he did. And despite that, I decided to forgive his transgressions of fleeing. Without speaking to us, they said, looking towards her. I don't know if you guys understand at the moment the situation that we're in, but we need all the help we can get. Having one of the 7 ninja swordsmen on our side will help us tremendously. She's right, said Jin. However, you don't intend to flee this time, do you, Zabuza-san? As he looked towards Zabuza with a calculated gaze. Zabuza smirked under his bandages. You don't have to worry about me. I'll see it through till the end. We'll just have to see about that, his sister said. Hina then spoke up. Then let's get to the main topic, shall we? You two, she said. What do you require for us to gain your services? I know that you're not just doing this out of the goodness of your heart. Naruto opened his mouth, however, Yuki beat him to it. Listen up, she said. I don't like my motives to be questioned. However, know this, because I'm only gonna say it once. We're here to help. And besides, we're just here as a formality, because we'll be stopping this whole thing by the end of the day. In a few hours, as a matter of fact. The whole place was silent. As Naruto shook his head, she was not one for wasting time after all. Would you please explain what you meant by that? Mei asked as she looked towards her. It is as how it sounds. Me and Naruto will be heading towards the main island of Kiri, and we'll be killing the Mizukage. Once we do, we'll be able to find all of those who are loyal to him, and we'll kill them as well. We're talking about those that would rather die than see you people join back to the village. The ones that can be convinced, it will be left up to you to convince them. After all, when this whole thing is over, you will be the one appointed Mizukage. For all that you have done, the village will need a strong leader. No, hold on right there, said Dante. I think you're getting ahead of yourself, little miss. Don't call me that, she said. My name is Sasuke, and we've already wasted a lot of time with this meaningless talk. We're here to help because we've seen the suffering that your people are going through. So, we're here to stop this endless war, because if we don't, this is gonna drag on until this entire force is either eradicated or forced to surrender. Jane looked towards her. I know of your listings in the bingo book, but isn't it a bit too presumptuous to believe that you two alone can storm into the village and stop all of this? I understand your strengths from the report, but I don't believe that the both of you have the necessary power alone to end this. Sorry if this is offensive, he said to the both of them. It's not, said Sasuke. However, this wouldn't be the first time that someone has doubted us. But actions speak louder than words. So we're gonna be doing this today. Wait, said Mei. You guys can't just go on and charge in. We're going to. Don't you want your people to finally be free? I know. That is why I believe that we should do a careful schedule attack to make sure no need. Sasuke said, as she simply walked out. As Naruto sighed, she really don't like to waste time. But you guys have nothing to worry about. And we won't destroy the village. We'll lure Yagura out. All you guys have to worry about is putting things back together once the chain of command falls. So you better be ready. With that, Naruto walk out as well. All of them turn towards me. Are we really going to allow them to just walk right in there? They could be captured and tortured to release the information on where we are right now. We should stop them. Gather the guards. No, said Zabuza. What do you mean no? I know these children are strong, but do you really believe they can take on everything in there? Zabuza did not speak, he was quiet. Listen, first thing first. Their power is something not even I understand. However, you believing that you can actually stop them is another thing. I don't believe that we have anywhere close to the power to stop them from doing what they're going to do. And besides, they're doing this out of the goodness of their heart, just as they say. I think we should allow them. Mei stepped towards Zabuza. Her and him had a very long talk. It was firstly comprised of her attacking him and almost beating living shit out of him. But she did get in a few wonderful hits that she enjoyed. Do you really believe that they can do this by themselves? Zabuza thought back to everything that they have been through so far. What he has seen. Without a doubt, he said. The group was surprised. Zabuza of all people saying that. He's right. I don't know how. I don't know what they are, but I can tell that Sasuke is probably a human with just an unbelievable amount of power, Haku said. However, that boy, Naruto, I don't believe that he's a human. What? What are you trying to say? What is he, some kind of alien? I'm not sure. Jin frowned. You're joking, right? As Haku shook his head no. Well, it's too late anyways, Zabuza said. They're already gone by now, because they can fly. Meanwhile, as Naruto and Sasuke was flying through the air, you could have at least explained a bit more to them. Why bother, she said. They would have just slowed us down and gotten our way. I know, but they don't know what we know. To them, we are powerful, but we can't stop this on our own. But you and I know better, he said. Well, I'm done wasting my time, she said. Now, are we gonna do this or not? As Naruto shook his head with a sigh. Of course we are, he said. And I'll be taking Yagura. What? She said. I'll be taking Yagura because if I don't, you're gonna kill him. And I need to remove the tail beast from him safely before he eventually dies. After all, there's no point in killing the beast as well. Alright, fine, she said. Always stucking me with the weaklings. Come on, they're not gonna be weak, and besides, there are gonna be some of them that you aren't allowed to kill. Once you know that they are not going to support the militia after what happens. So you're gonna have to hold back on those one. And that will give you a chance to hold back and fight. Tuh. That's still not gonna be fun. Tell you what, once this whole thing is over, we'll do something actually fun. How about that? Fine, she said. But not your definition of fun. What? I'm fun, said Naruto. Not really, she said. What are you talking about? I'm fun. What about that ice slide that I created? Yeah, ice slide. We're not children anymore. Well, I am not, she said. If you think you are, then you are, she said. So when I say my definition of fun, I mean mine, she said. Alright, fine, said Naruto. Have your way, as usual. She smirked. Damn right, she said. What was that, said Naruto. She looked towards him with a glare. Even if I had thought it, without saying it out loud, you would have found a way to hear me, so don't act like you didn't hear what I say. Now let's get going. Jackass. Spoiled brat, said Naruto. Piss for brains, she said to him. Oh, now you done it, said Naruto, as the both of them started to argue the entire way, acting like they were not going to go into a hellish place, that they were going to be actively hunted, and people are trying to kill them. Time skip. Yagura was currently sitting within his office. Time and time again, those damn bloodline users were getting away from him. Something that he severely hated, something that he finally wanted to put a stop to, but he could not. They were so elusive. They keep on getting away from him and he can't do a damn thing about it. And he knew deep down within himself that they were the embodiment of evil, and they should be destroyed, otherwise they would bring nothing but chaos and destruction. They were gonna burn the world as it is. They were gonna kill off a majority of people, and he saw it. So he decided to do something about it, knowing that their existence would lead to the downfall of Kiri and perhaps all the other nations. They were poison. His mind had been warning him about it, and finally, he decided to make a move. He needed to finish what he started and end their existence, otherwise things would go bad before returning, or perhaps it would never return back to normal. His mind was so preoccupied with them, he barely had time for anything else nowadays. He just had to kill. He just had to get rid of them. He needed to. He needed to get rid of them. There was a frantic knock on his door, as everyone knew that he did not tolerate. No one just bursting inside. Come in. As a Chonin rushed inside. Sir, we have a problem. Moments later, Yagura was shocked as he heard what had happened. As he made his way towards the location, it was the on-site prison, the confinement area. Arriving there, Yagura watched as the guards opened the door, and inside he came face to face with two children who had willingly given up themselves, telling him that they knew exactly where the location of the remaining rebels were. Now this was something he had to hear, his guards standing by to strike them down if they ever did something. But what was more shocking was who was these two people, as he couldn't believe it. I must say, out of everyone I expected to ever see, you two are not on the list. Tell me, why are you two here? And how do you know anything about what is going on? As far as I know, neither of you two have been spotted in this nation ever before. And I would know, and people would speak about it after all. You two children aren't exactly normal, are you? He said to the both of them. They had restraints on them to suppress their chakra. Speak, he said, as neither of them said anything. The girl was busy looking around as she spoke, but not to Yagura. I presume that all of them are with him 100%, she said. Yep, these guys are his elites, the group that accompany him on almost everything. So there's no doubt about it, they would be with him. Give me a moment, said Naruto, as he closed his eyes. His thoughts, his intuitions, his mind spreading through the village within a few seconds. As he then leaned over and touched her on the hand. As she felt it, now she knew. Well, a lot of them want this to be over. Yagura pointed his staff towards Naruto's face. I'm speaking to you, he said. As Naruto looked up towards him, the cuff snapped into pieces without even a movement from Naruto. Sasuke flexed her hand and they snapped. Immediately the guards rushed inside. Naruto looked up and waved his hand. The ceiling vanished. It just disappeared. The next moment, everything shook and they switched places. Yes, they were no longer within the village. Everyone that was in the room was currently outside, away from the village. They looked around confused when they saw others. A few of them gathered. You brought all of them, Sasuke said, looking towards him. These are the ones that are with him. You said you wanted a challenge. Well, there you go, said Naruto. What? Do you expect me to falter to this? She asked him. Of course not, said Naruto, as he had linked his mind to each and every one of them outside. They had no time to try and fight him, not that these people could. He then used his ability, bending time and space, teleporting them along with himself, using himself as a conduit to all of them. When people said that he was powerful, they had no idea. And the thing about it was, Naruto was still growing into his power. Yes, he was a 10th dimensional being, but there were certain limitations on himself. And the problem was no one had put them on him. He had put them on himself. And there was a reason for that. A 10th dimensional being wasn't just any normal being. Even the name alone is a part to understand what it truly is. However, the concept of power was not over Naruto, he was above it. A 10th dimensional being was something that was not placed on almost any reality. A being that could not be copied. A being that could not be replicated. A being that could not be transcended. However, Naruto was different, his body was limited. He put certain limitations on himself. And maybe it was that he was born for the split second as a human, but his life far transcended beyond that. His birth into this world was his own doing. That might sound weird, but yes, he was the reason why he was born. A being of his understanding and knowledge was able to break the concept of time. Reality did not hold him, even while he was not yet born, even while Minato and Kushina were still kids. The concept of Naruto has always exists, but he was just not yet in the world. His power was absolute. Those beings that visited him when he was a child told him that he needed to transcend to their level, but Naruto had stopped it. He stopped his transcension, which would have put his power to a level where no one could comprehend except for those beings. Because unlike anything else, he was above it all. And he really was. However, he stopped his transcension, and his body had regressed into not going past the limitation that it had set on itself. And he did that because transcending mean he could no longer be on this plane, in this form, and he did not want it to leave. So yes, he had limitations which did not give him full access to what he could truly do, but even with those limitations, he was still vastly powerful. However, because of those limitations, his full power was coming in slow. Yes, it was growing as he aged, which shouldn't happen. A being of his stature should be fully powered the moment that he stepped into reality, the moment the concept hit him. But he refused to ascend to that level, so he was gaining his full power. Well, not all of it until he transcended and gave up his mortal body. But enough about how awesome he was. A staff was thrown directly towards Naruto's skull, as Yagura intended to end him as he saw that he was with those filthy scoundrels. Yes, those disgusting bloodline users. So he also needed to die. The staff whipped through the air at tremendous speed, picking up speed as it did so. However, as Naruto turned to face it, it stopped in mid-air and unraveled into nothingness, like it was never there. As Naruto held his hand towards Yagura, and the both of them vanished. They appear a distance away as Naruto's voice echoed out, "Have fun." As Yuki was left, she pulled her blade as it glistened in the sun. "Oh, I intend to," she said. "Huh? What's this? We're left here with this brat? It doesn't matter who she is, she's the enemy. She needs to be put down. We can handle this, the rest of you go, and help our lord." Several of them started to turn until Yuki vanished. She reappeared in mid-air, as she had marked the areas. She then released electricity that created a massive barrier of pure raw electricity that trapped them inside. I'm afraid that none of you are leaving this area alive. They all turned their wrath upon her. The first one to her left that twitched lost the entire left side of his face as blood spurted out of his cleaved head before his body dropped, shocking all of them. She looked towards them with this creepy smile. Who's next, she asks. Meanwhile, Yagura landed. There was no words that came from him as he blurred through hand sign. He took in a deep breath before he shot water bullets out of his mouth. His manipulation and control over water was great, almost close to the first Hokage. As it showed, Naruto saw all of them coming as he simply stepped forward and they all froze mid-air before they clattered to the ground. Yagura vanished with superior speed as he appeared behind Naruto, moving faster than before. As he lashed his hand out, water concealer on his arm to jam straight through Naruto. It was condensed and sharpened to the finest point to pierce, skewer. However, it phased right through Naruto, as what Yagura hit was an after image. He was now surrounded by a lot of them. It's been a long time since I exercised my strength and power, said Naruto. Haven't had anyone to really give me a challenge lately. So how about we have a little bit of fun? You think this is a joke, said Yagura. You side with those disgusting life forms and you think this is a joke. The only one that is disgusting here is you for what you're doing. And I'll make sure you regret every moment of the things that you've done, said Naruto. Yagura snarled as he flashed you a hand sign. This time, his mouth bulged as he shoots a massive stream towards Naruto. As Naruto dodged, it twisted and launched itself towards him. The head turned into a dragon, showing the impressive control that Yagura had. As the thing was about to hit Naruto, Naruto shrunk himself down as he ran away from the attack as it slammed down. He then enlarged himself as he became massive. He drove his fist down towards Yagura as it destroyed the ground. However, Yagura flipped up his arm and ran right up to Naruto's shoulder, aiming a brutal kick toward the side of the blonde's head. However, Naruto shrunk himself back down back to normal form and landed a kick in Yagura's chest. Yagura was knocked what seemed to be 100 yards away. However, he collapsed right in front of Naruto, much to his confusion. As Naruto stomped into his gut, he broke through the ground, yet he fell from the heavens. As Naruto punched him across the face, and he came out of the water. Yagura gasped in confusion. He snarled, "Enough of your games," he said, as he started to get enraged. Chakra started to bubble up around him as he started to tap into the tail beast's power. 3 tails appeared behind him as he wasted no time. The cloak was still see-through though, as he launched himself towards Naruto. He was like a mini turtle. His back had this little cloak shell on it. As he was about to hit Naruto, the space in front of Naruto opened up, and Yagura found himself standing on a desert field as Naruto appeared behind him and kicked him. The space in front of him shattered like glass as he found himself falling from thousands of feet up in the air, confused and shocked by what was going on, until Naruto appeared below him and hit him in the guts, punching him straight through the heavens. He actually felt a barrier like his body could not go any further, but it broke and he found himself underwater. He pulled himself out as he found himself at the same spot. Confused, he spat water out of his mouth. "How are you doing this?" he yelled. "An ability of mine," said Naruto. "Pretty cool, huh?" Yagura snarled at that. This time he went full. As his body started to change, his skin started to peel off. He leaped towards Naruto as he spat something. The next thing Naruto knew, he was surrounded by coral, as it surrounded him, restricting his movements. Well, so Yagura thought. His fist was infused with so much power as he drove it. However, his fist passed through Naruto once again, breaking through a strange space dimension. The next thing he knew, he saw his own face. As his fist slammed into his own face, he was sent sprawling across the ground. As he picked himself up in a crouch, looking around. Hey, looking for me? He looked upwards as his tail struck, as Naruto was standing on his back. Naruto grabbed the middle one and jumped off, as he pulled him down. He pulled him through the solid ground like it was made of some sort of soft material, and threw him. Yagura found himself breaking through several trees in the misty forest. He growled out in anger as he had enough. His power exploded. Finally, said Naruto, as he transformed into the massive three-tailed beast. His tails came down and decimated the forest. He wasted no time. As he jumped, his body spun as he came rolling towards Naruto. However, Naruto did not move. Instead, he stretched himself out. Yes, Naruto became so large as Yagura slammed right into him, but as the spinning turtle tried to dislodge, he could not, because Naruto became bubblegum, stuck into every part of him. Yagura tried to pull back, but he could not get away, as Naruto wrapped all over him, his skin actually becoming pink as he did so. The turtle was now covered completely, as it floated up in the air by a big bubble that expanded on its back. As Naruto's face could be seen on said bubble before it popped, the turtle crashed in the ground, rather painfully, as Naruto was back to normal. He held his hand out to the heavens. As it split apart into 3 different pieces, it turned into a rope, 3 different strange material ropes, as he threw it forward and grabbed 3 of the tails. He then started spinning the turtle around before he bashed him all over the area. He then threw him down a ravine that was never there before. The turtle tried to reach out and grab onto something, but there was nothing to grab onto. The ravine seemed endless until he saw what appeared to be lava down below. Shock and fear. Before he could reach or find anything, he fell. However, he hit something hard. The lava was frozen solid, which absolutely made no sense. The next thing he knew, the ground returned back to normal and he found himself in the destroyed forest. The turtle growled at him. There was a reason behind Naruto's madness and why he was doing all of this. Now it made sense. He did not see it before. It was planted so deep in his subconscious, but now he saw it. However, Yagura was pissed as he created a massive tail beast bomb while Naruto was thinking. Instead of doing anything, Naruto sat down as he started to understand what was truly going on, and it all made sense. He then turned towards Yagura, who was finished, and launched a tail beast bomb towards him. The attack tore through almost everything. As Naruto held his hand up, a purple mist formed in front of him before it turned into a gigantic mirror. Said mirror also had an incoming tail beast bomb until the one inside came out and slammed into Yagura's. The 3-tailed eye went wide as the both of them imploded right upon him. The whole place went up in a violent blast, shaking the entire area. Mei and her forces, as she was coming herself, came to a complete stop. Ayo, she said. As Ayo tried to use the Byakugan, but he winced in pain. Too much chakra, he said, as he could not see what the hell was going on. The chakra in the ear was so potent it was hurting the implanted eye. Come on, let's go. As they made their way back with Naruto, Yagura was on the ground. Half his body was burned as he seemed to suffer the same fate as the 3 tails. Given the control and the, well, mental mix between them, there was no surprise. As Naruto walked over and stood there, the look on his face was actually one of pity. I'm sorry, he said. Yagura spat at him. Before he could say something though, Naruto tapped him on the forehead. As Naruto's eyes went white, Yagura's eyes also went white. A second later, they returned back to normal. Yagura was no longer feeling pain. What he felt was anguish, despair. He was not in the mortal world. He was in a strange creation. The floor and ceiling was white. Everything was white as Naruto stood in front of him. He looked towards Naruto and dropped to his knees. Tears started to pool out of his eyes. He screamed to the heavens. He cried. As Naruto stood there with an apologetic look on his face, it now made perfect sense. You didn't just go mad. You were forced into this. I'm sorry. What you were forced to do. Yagura's hands were shaking. All those people. My people. What I've done to them. Naruto placed a hand on his shoulder. This wasn't you. This was a madman who wanted to see this world burns. And I promise you, I'll find him and make him regret what he did to you. Yagura looked up towards him. I'm sorry for fighting you, he said. I know, said Naruto. As he looked up towards the heavens, the tears still flowing across his cheek. The pain was unbearable, as he had no a clear mind to understand what he did, what he put his people through. Yes, it was horrible. I can't go on, he said. I know, said Naruto, as he knew that the man would not allow himself to go through this. What he felt was something that he could not come back from. Naruto could feel it. That is why he already seemed like he understood, because this was not Yagura's mind or his domain. It was not even Naruto's mind. It was a place that could not be corrupted that Naruto created. It didn't have anything in it. It gave Yagura a chance to express and grief. Naruto looked towards him. Before I go, with my people, is there still a chance to return Kiri? No, said Naruto. Yagura hung his head. It's gonna be better than what it was before. Mei Terumi. She's going to be a wonderful leader. And before I go, I'll help her, said Naruto. And I'll help your people to understand that. It's better that way. I promise. You might be going, but your village will still stand proud, said Naruto. Thank you, said Yagura. I know I don't even know you, or why you're doing this. But thank you, he said to him. I'm just trying to help, said Naruto, as he actually felt terrible. Yagura was speaking, but on the inside the man was burning up. Regret, shame. Just the mere thought of it was physically harming the man. It just goes to show what mental pain could actually turn into physical. As the space vanished, in the outside world Yagura was no more. Naruto made sure that he did not feel any pain. His body was fully healed, yet he was dead. Naruto was holding something in his hand, a purple orb. Inside of that orb was the three tails. Naruto was not happy. Yagura did not deserve this. Years, he was used like a puppet. And Naruto saw it. Who was behind this? A man with an orange spiral mask, who possessed a Sharingan. And this was not Itachi Uchiha. He had to tell Yuki about this. As he got up. However, the problem was, all of the remaining shinobis that fought for Yagura despite Them wanting everything to go back to the way it was, were here. They had no choice, despite them wanting to rebuild and having no problem with the bloodline users. They had to pretend. And they had to show their loyalty, otherwise Yagura would have executed all of them. As Naruto stepped out of the cavern that he had created, rising up toward the surface, he was holding the dead body of Yagura. The people gasped as they saw it. The others did not know who was the loyalist, so they had to act. But none of them here wanted to continue fighting, but they feared the others would turn against them, so they pretended. "Kill him!" one of them shouted. "He killed Yagura-sama!" As the members started to get violent, on the inside they just wanted to be over. However, Naruto knew that. However, he was also angry. And whenever he was angry, things did not pan out well. "That's enough." Naruto's voice came out weak. Knowing that Yagura spent majority of his life under someone's control who treat him like a puppet, a pawn to execute his own people. Who would do something like that? Who would purposely throw a nation into chaos for what? Shits and giggles? And making those men over there that Yuki was facing against unredeemable. Their soul was tainted. It was like a virus. It festered inside of them. It festered and got a hold of them, gripping them tightly. And throughout the years they actually came to believe in the lies. Maybe it was a part of the influence of the Genjutsu, those that were close to Yagura. However, it did fester and grow deep in their subconscious and their souls. Naruto was not sure at his current level that he could do anything to change someone's soul. So he had no choice but to end them. Placing them in prison would just gain more resentment in their hearts. And if one of them were to escape and free the others, it would be a massacre, and he couldn't allow that. Naruto sighed as yet. Despite what he said, they still rally. And his anger was not calming down. "I said, stand down," he said, the ground cracking. However, they saw him as one person and they decided that they should make a move, not knowing if they could trust even their own comrades. The frown on Naruto's face deepened. The sea started to tremble. The sky started to grow dark, blocking out the sun. As the shadow came instantaneously, dark purple lightning started to rain down from the heavens. An ominous feeling started to fill the area. Several people found themselves unable to breathe. As Naruto was releasing a cosmic bloodlust that should not be felt by them, it started to hit them in their very essence, their human makeup. It started to target every part of them. Knees started to buckle as they started to collapse on the ground. This time when Naruto spoke, his voice came out. No longer as it was. It sounded demonic and it was able to spread through the entire island of Kiri. "I said, stand down," he roared. The whole island shook. Everyone collapsed, either on their butts or on their knees, as the place started to crack and break apart. Naruto felt a hand on his shoulder as it was Yuki. "It's over," she said. "It's over." As she saw the look in his eyes, she knew that something was wrong. She could feel it. Mei, Terumi, and the others had fallen down as well. All of them had fallen, except for Yuki. They were shocked. Now Mei was able to truly understand why Zabuza believed this boy could end this by himself. Haku was right. That was no normal boy. She wasn't sure what he is, but she doubted that he was a boy, or even human. As Naruto turned towards her, she saw the dead corpse in his arms. "I'll tell you later," he said. As the place started to clear up, the people all surrendered immediately. They were happy when they saw the others surrender, because none of them wanted to fight. However, they thought the others wanted to fight. It was a good thing that this boy stopped them from doing so, otherwise they would be running to their deaths for nothing at all. So it was a good thing that they finally stand down. Time skip. Both Naruto and Yuki stood on a high vantage point as they overlooked the village. There was some constructions going on. It wasn't much to do, but things were settling back in. Of course it would not go that easily, but things were coming along. And people seemed to be having a good cooperation to make that happen. You did not tell them. No, said Naruto. Why, said Yuki. It would cause more chaos. At the same time it would clear his name, but what's gonna stop them from thinking the next time Mei does something that they don't like, that she's under control by this same individual, and they try to take her out of office as well? It's best they do not know. Things are just returning back to normal, so let it be that way, said Naruto. Are you okay? She asks. Yeah, said Naruto. I just have to keep on reminding myself that there's a lot of evil in this world. So much. And this world is such a big place. And the way I am right now, I can't be everywhere at once. As Naruto sighed, she placed a hand on his shoulder. It's not all on you, she said. And besides, you will never be alone as long as I'm alive. I'll always be by your side. Naruto turned towards her with a smile. As he stepped forward and hugged her, she hugged him back. Thank you, said Naruto. It wasn't even a question, she said to him, with a happy smile on her face, as they broke apart. So, what now, she said. I mean, after we're done here. Well, I did promise you that we're gonna have your type of fun, said Naruto with a smile. Yeah, that's right, isn't it, she said, with a smile of her own. Okay, let's not go overboard. You already promised, and you're not about to take that back. Why do I feel like I'm gonna regret this? Big time, said Naruto. You might or you might not, she said. Come on, as they made their way down. Moments later. How are things, said Naruto, as he stood in front of me. She turned towards him. Well, things are getting there. However, time is needed, she said. I wasn't able to say this earlier, but, well, I don't even know what to say. After years of fighting, struggling, suffering, things are finally going back to normal, she said. And I mean your death. I don't know what I can do, but acts of it. If it is within my power, I'll do it, she said. Well, there is something I want, said Naruto. What's that, she said. You could sleep with me. Mei blinked as she looked at him. She blinked once more. I'm kidding, said Naruto. Why don't people seem to get my jokes? Well, you don't seem to be that funny, she said. As Naruto lowered his head, a thunderstorm appearing over his head. As she chuckled to herself. You and Yuki are so mean, he said to her. Sorry, she said to him. Now seriously, is there something you want, she asked. Nah, we're fine, said Naruto. I don't understand. How can you be this generous? You walk in here and save an entire nation, and yet you want nothing in return. Why? If you're doing something for a reward, it's not a good deed. And I did not do this for a reward, said Naruto. I did this because I wanted to help. And now, you can also help. Now that your nation is going back to normal, you can unite with the other nations. And maybe eventually one day, we can finally have some peace. You know, I was thinking the same thing, she said. Now that I am a leader, I have more sway, and more things I can do with my influence. Now that's what I wanted in the long run, said Naruto. Peace. You know, this world is blessed to have someone like you, and your partner. She's quite something as well. Yeah, she is, said Naruto with a smile. You know, you may be too young, but yet, the way you act and speak, it's like I'm talking to an adult. However, in the coming future, you will start to see signs, and maybe you might take a while to see them, but know this. You two are perfect together. As Naruto chuckled. What's so funny, she said. Huh, you're not the first one to tell me that. And I doubt you'll be the last. We'll be staying here for a couple more days. She looked towards him. You don't even have to ask, given all that you've done so far. I would never dream of kicking you out. Not that I could, she said, looking at him. Seriously, I have to ask. Who are you? Or, in another word, what are you, she said. As Naruto walked towards the door. I'm just a guy that's trying to help, he said, with a smile on his face. As he left. Huh, seems like he's keeping that one close to himself, she thought. A distance away, Jiraiya of the Sannin was currently heading towards the village. As he got information that he could finally speak to his godson. He could finally talk to him and convince him to return back to the Hidden Leaf. As he hoped he made it on time. But guys, being subscribed right here. If you want to see next part, and do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Remember, share some of your friends in social media platform. And don't forget to go ahead and check out the other series of the other channels. Yes, I did a 4 of them which I post what fun every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead, smash that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. But I'm out for now. See you guys soon. Peace, guys.